Hi, here's another episode of the Bordogni Etudes. This is number 26 in the Melodious Etudes book. This one is a little bit different character. And remember, the Bordogni was a very successful opera singer, and he taught people to sing in that genre. And this has a little bit of that character, and it also moves more quickly than a lot of the other ones. So let's see how much stumbling I do as I try and play through this today. I like to play through these one a day, and this is, I tell my students to do this. So you have, what, 54 etudes or something like that in the book. Play one a day, play through it, read straight through it. If you can't do that, just look at one thing that's keeping you from being able to do that. Work on sections, practice it for a few minutes, maybe spend 10, 15 minutes practicing to try and improve the quality of what you're doing in some way, and then move on to the next one the next day. In the course of your work of reading through, you want to keep track of those spots that you find annoying, difficult, challenging, and see if you can get to the underlying causes of why that might be the case, and invent or use exercises that you already know to try and address those things. Okay, I'm going to go play this a little bit and see whether we can get a good performance of it today. Actually, it's not a performance. I had to practice it in order to prepare it for a performance. So here goes nothing. So trying to perform something like that helps to keep us honest. And sometimes the truth is painful to our egos, right? So there are all kinds of degrees of quality. And you can only achieve the highest level of quality with patience and persistence and motivation for tasting those quality things. Now, I always have my ear on that quality of the sound, the various elements that make the music taste good, so to speak. And sometimes I get distracted by that. Sometimes the right attitude is just buckle down and nail the notes. So that's not a bad way to practice, unless that's the only way you practice, right? Sometimes it's good to just bash through an etude. I'm going to keep doing these no matter how embarrassing it is, and to see what happens and to get a better idea of kind of where you are and what you need to work on a given day. So I think this one is going to present certain problems, and you're probably going to discover them for yourself. I know where I have some issues. Sometimes I get a little finger tied, and if that's the problem, now the fingers are moving quicker, I have a little skill, and I'll bring this up later on when I focus in on the fingers as part of the machine that we use to play the trumpet, right? People will practice just working the fingerings, do-do-do-dee-do-do-dee-do-dee. So we have all these quick moving lines. Where's a spot that's, yeah, that's pretty continuous. Okay, here we go. So this is going into bar 14, I guess it is. If I played that dynamic right the first time through. Well, oh well. fun to practice. But it's only fun to practice if you're improving. Otherwise, it's frustrating, discouraging. It can really beat you down. Trumpet's a great instrument. If you like to self-torture, you can do it really well on the trumpet. I don't recommend it. Try and avoid that. Try and find that spirit of play and take your time. So if I were working on this, I could feel, I was executing it, but it wasn't completely fluid. There were some rigid things happening in my fingers. So one of the things I'll do is go through and make it more intense. So I'm going da 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 da. So you can hear the percussion of the valves. And I'm hearing the sound with the fingers. It's a basic practice technique. Many of you know about this, you're doing it. I find that things come together really quickly if I'm hearing the notes accurately and I'm snapping those valves down. This is something that many teachers have said. Doc Severinsen says, bang down the valves. So that's where I differ a little bit. Yeah, sometimes if you're too fluffy with your fingers, you need to snap. But you don't need to hold them tight, right? You need to keep them fluid. So the second thing I'll do is to do it lightly. So I just step right to the side, to the lead pipe, and do the same thing, only now just tapping lightly. And I feel my hand relax because I'm not challenged with the mechanism of pushing the valves down and lifting my fingers up. I've got this light touch going. So that's something I can strongly recommend for you to practice. Do it in your Clark studies, do it in scales, and then when you're playing scales, like you have in this particular etude, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get the job done. Let's hope so anyway. I hope some of this stuff works for you. Okay, I think that's enough of that one. That was kind of fun, but every time I play something like this, it's like, oh, I need to go practice now. And I hope you feel that way too. So if that's how you do feel, go ahead, go practice. I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Bye.